built yourself a life of meaning. Instead of ending up here, dead and forgotten in the sense of Africa.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another review. This time around, we are here with the one and only Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, brought to you by Machine Games, Bethesda, and, of course, Xbox. Now, this game does launch on December 9th officially, but if you are on Xbox, I think if you pre-ordered a certain version, you'll be able to get access to this game on the 12th. So, on the 12th, Jesus Christ, whatever, on the 6th, okay? Give me a break. I'm excited to share my opinions on this, but Indiana Jones was a childhood hero of mine. Me and my brother played so many Indiana Jones games and, of course, watched so much Indiana Jones when we were young. So, we got to watch, of course, the Young Indiana Jones series, which was a TV series about Indiana Jones in his youth. And then, of course, we watched, Temple of Doom, Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Last Crusade, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Dial of Destiny, and I even watched the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, which in the Chronicles, you actually see Indiana Jones as a really old man. Now, this is a lot for some of you, because some of you probably aren't the biggest Indiana Jones fans, but there was even a moment in time to where there was I think it was like a mini movie or mini series, and it was called Indiana Jones and the Mystery of the Blues, which actually showcased Harrison Ford with a beard, and it was crazy. But either way, there's been all different types of games and books and all kinds of stuff that have been wrapped around the Indiana Jones series for some time. I was a really big fan of the recent film, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, because I feel like it really touched that kind of spot that the old school Indiana Jones movies, shows, and of course games really did for me as a fan of the series. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was not my favorite. I did not like the addition of like aliens and all this other stuff. That was just me. I didn't really like it. But the one thing that I will say that I love about this game is that it really touches tone with this young Indy, and it showcases a lot of really great storytelling in this game that if you are a fan of the Indiana Jones series, you're going to smile ear to ear and, have tears in your eyes like I did. When I say bringing tears to my eyes, I know that sounds ridiculous, but I really do mean that. So when I say this game brought tears to my eyes, it's because you see characters like Harrison Ford being represented by some of the greatest voice acting that you'll ever hear, Troy Baker. And there's so many times as you're playing as Indiana Jones in this game that you can't really tell the difference. I've heard Troy Baker for years as a voice actor, but there's so many times that he just hits spot on that quim perfectly that Harrison Ford would say as Indiana Jones. But even seeing some of the characters that didn't have a big spotlight in the game, but seeing characters like Marcus being represented in the game, Denholm Elliott. He played Marcus in the original movies, and he was such a great actor. I'm telling you guys, one of the best side character actors out there, man. He was really great. He was in Trading Spaces back in the day and all that, but he was a really great actor. And seeing his representation in that game, right when I saw Marcus, I had tears in my eyes because this series meant so much to me. But where Machine Games and Bethesda really knocked it out of the park was the story and narrative in this game. The Great Circle, all the mystery that's around it, it just falls right into place with what is great about Indiana Jones is the mystery and action and adventure that Indy is always getting himself into. These daunting tasks that one man is trying to take on just to preserve the history of the world while he's fighting off Nazis as they're trying to bring back the dead or trying to use some type of mythical power to take over the world. He always finds himself in these areas, but where Machine Games really focuses in to make you feel like Indy is not just in the action of you punching a Nazi in the face or using the whip or wearing a hat. It's the small details, like as you go into a room, actually having to really investigate that room. You know, if you don't pick up certain notes, there's going to be certain things you're not really going to know whenever you move on to the next area. You know, I was the type of player playing this game that as I was playing it and I was picking these notes up, I was constantly going to my journal, constantly trying to figure out what I needed to figure out before I moved on to the next area. And they do that really well. They really do. One of the great things too is, like I said before, the accessibility, excuse my coughing, I'm sorry guys. The accessibility in the game too is like how the fact that you could change the difficulty of the story and the action in the game separately. So like if you change the action of the game and it's like a little too difficult for you, but the puzzles are just fine for you, changing the difficulty of the action is not going to change the difficulty of the puzzles. So like I've never seen a game that split the difficulty settings to where you could change it like that. I mean, that's a really big accessibility feature that a lot of people are probably going to love. And I would think that they would, because that's something that is really meaningful to me, because sometimes I really like to play on baby-ass baby mode. And, but when it comes down to puzzles, I want a challenge. And these puzzles can be very challenging. But speaking back on the terms of like graphical presentation and overall narrative and stuff like that, this is the world of Indiana Jones, no questions asked. Machine Games should be proud of the work that they put in on this game, because this is not just a video game experience to me. This is a cinematic experience from start to finish that really transports you into the world of Indiana Jones like never before. We've seen some of these games come out before in the past that did feature, of course, the world of Indiana Jones with different game studios, but this is by far the most in-depth Indiana Jones game ever made, and really kind of brings the OG back onto the mantle as like one of the greatest adventurers. For the longest time, we had a stand-in that was Nathan Drake. But, the man, the myth, the legend, Indiana Jones couldn't let that slide and decided to come back. And Machine Games really did a fantastic job of putting you into the shoes of Indiana Jones. Now, one thing that I will say about the game that was not the most enjoyable at times was the gameplay mechanics. Now, though, as you have seen in the video, there is some really, really great aspects of this game. The visuals, the story, most of the gameplay is pretty great, but at times the gameplay mechanics kind of fall short to the quality of the story and the graphics. So at times I feel like there was a lot of times that like I'm facing off against these Nazis, doing my 1-2 punch, trying to do that combo as good as I possibly can. I'm sucking, I'm getting my tail whooped. Also, at times, it just didn't feel as fluid as it should feel. And that's just, personal preference. It didn't feel... It just didn't feel like it was as well-rounded as previous games that they've brought out before, like, the Wolfenstein series. Even when it comes down to the whip, there were times that, like, I would be prompted to use the whip, or in a battle, I would be trying to use the whip, and it just didn't really work the best. So, at times, I have to say, it did feel somewhat clunky. There would be times that I would be swinging from one side of a ledge to another side of the ledge, and somehow I didn't swing hard enough and I would drop, or there would be times that I would jumping from one ledge to another. It's like he didn't build enough speed, so I would just fall. So I would just have to restart over. But that's really kind of the only aspect that I had a problem with this game. If you can kind of move past that, which I did pretty easily because how great the world looks, how great the music is, the voice acting, and the story and the puzzles, it really kind of wraps it in of being one of the best action adventure games I played this year. I would go as far as saying Indiana Jones is back, baby. The king has returned. And it is a really, really great experience, especially the fact that this is going to be on Xbox Game Pass. You're going to be able to play this day one on Game Pass. That's nuts to me, man. So, me particularly, I love the game. I think it is a fantastic game, even though the gameplay mechanics at times can be clunky and be a little frustrating. If you can push through that, and you're like me and a big Indiana Jones fan, then this game is going to be something pretty special to you, I believe. So I am giving this game a 4 out of 5. As I said, the gameplay mechanics at times can be clunky, but 4 out of 5 is a great score for this game, and I feel like this is probably for sure one of the better action-adventure kind of mystery-esque games out there on the marketplace this year. If you get a chance and you want to play it, it's going to be available on Game Pass on the 9th. If you pre-ordered the certain version of the game, I think you're able to play it as of the 6th. And the game is coming to PlayStation in spring of 2025. So like I said, great experience. Big shout out to Machine Games. I mean, you knocked it out of the park, guys. What a wonderful experience it was. And I can't wait to replay through it. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Make sure to check back soon for more reviews right here at Cinelinx.com.